Good evening and welcome to today's edition of Project 30 Before 30 International Coaching and Mentoring Program on the African Townhall Online Television. My name is Francis Meribe, and I'm your life coach and mentor for this series. Today, we will be looking at the life principles for success, which President Nelson Mandela, of blessed memory of South Africa, taught, the life that he lived that helped him to achieve the success that he had in life. I know that many of us know Nelson Mandela, the man who led the liberation movement in South Africa and led it until the apartheid regime of that country caved in and allowed majority rule, and he subsequently became the first Black president of the Republic of South Africa. Nelson Mandela lived to the ripe age of 98 years, I believe, before he died. And that is in spite of spending 27 of those years in prison as a political prisoner by the apartheid regime that reigned supreme in South Africa in those days. His life has since become an example for many people all over the world. And while he lived, several people, several leaders across the world respected because of the principles of life he lived for, the ones he used to guide himself, and the things he stood for. In Project 30 Before 30 International, which is a project that is created by the Townhall Communication Company, a company that is originally set up to help the rising generations of Africa to take their place in this stage of life through mentoring and coaching. Project 30 Before 30 comes to you every Tuesday at 8 p.m. GMT +1. And during this period, we propose to touch the life of all the rising generations of Africa, made up of youth aged between 12 and 17, and young adults aged between 18 and 30. Other people of older age who need coaching and mentoring, who need guidance in goal setting and how to achieve goals of life are also invited. We are coming to you live from our YouTube channel, The African Townhall, our Facebook page, The African Townhall, also by that same name, and our Facebook group, the Project 30 Before 30 International, because this particular program is for Project 30 Before 30 International. If you are viewing us from the group, that is from the group Project 30 Before 30 International, please remember to give permission to Facebook and StreamYard to show your name when you are making your comments. Secondly, if you do not remember to give them permission to show your name when you are making your comment, do remember to write your name at the end of your comment so we know who is coming. We invite all the viewers to please like, share, and comment on this program and ask questions as they feel it necessary to enable them understand more what we are teaching. Today, we are helping the rising generations of Africa to learn from one of Africa's best, Nelson Mandela, who was president of South Africa before he died, who lived a ripe age of 98 years, in spite of spending 27 of those years in prison as a political prisoner by the apartheid regime. He still lived. So he has so much to teach the world. I will now go forward to show you a short video, just a few minutes clip, 3 minutes clip video of Nelson Mandela indicating talks he gave at different occasions. One of them was an interview by the cerebral Oprah Winfrey. Another was a TED Talk, and another was from a speech he made at the Harvard University in the United States of America. It will now be my pleasure to play this video that has short clips of these different life principles of President Nelson Mandela, which we think at African Townhall online television and the Townhall Communication Company that the rising generations of Africa will benefit from when they learn from it. At the end of that short video, we will do some analysis. And during that time, we invite the viewers to leave comments and ask questions which will take time to answer for them in due course. Nelson Mandela, please.
The first thing is to be honest with yourself. You can never have an impact on society if you have not changed yourself. And one of the most important weapons in changing yourself is to recognize that people everywhere in the world want peace.
If in these later years of a life lived in pursuit of equality, we can at last look upon our own country as one in which citizens, regardless of race, gender or creed, share equal political rights and opportunities for development, we do so with great gratitude towards the millions upon millions all around the world who materially and morally supported our struggle for freedom and justice.
I was in the company of great men indeed. Some of them are more qualified, more talented than I am. And to sit down with them, to exchange views, was one of the most revealing experiences I had. To sit down with those men and to exchange views, it enriched your own life. It fortified your morality. It gave you courage to do better than your best.
One of the mistakes which some political analysts make is to think that their enemies should be our enemies. Anybody who changes his principles depending on whom he is dealing, that is not a man who can lead a nation.
You have a limited time to stay on earth. You must try and use that period for the purpose of transforming your country into what you desire it to be: a democratic, non-racial, non-sexist country. Humility is one of the most important qualities which you must have, because if you are humble, if you make people realize that you are no threat to them, then people will embrace you. They will listen to you.
I think you have had, in my opinion, one of the things that I consider to be the greatest words on marble. The words from the greatest African ever to live. In my estimation, no African leader has so far equaled Nelson Mandela. He's a man that took the highest hits of all the persecutions you can talk about in the quest for freedom. He's a man who came out of prison and was able to forgive those who put him in prison. He's a man who came out of prison, had the capacity and the opportunity to organize a government, and yet retained a large heart enough to work with many of these white men. He never discriminated against them. He didn't decide that since they gave him evil, since they discriminated against him and imprisoned him and persecuted him, he should give it back to them. He had the power to do that. I once read a story concerning Nelson Mandela, where it was said that one day he was with his security aides and they went to a restaurant to eat. And that's another thing. An African president of basically, in my opinion, the most prosperous African nation, is able to go to where other people go to eat. Some countries in Africa, you can't see where their presidents are. Now, Nelson Mandela went to a restaurant to eat. And then, as he took a table, the table next to them sat a man, and the man became very jittery. And his aides asked him, why is that man struggling? And what? I mean, the man is not at ease himself. What is the problem? Nelson Mandela decided to ask all his aides and let them go to the table where the man is. So they went and sat with the man through the meal. Though the man struggled to be with them, but he gave that man an opportunity to, forgive himself. And at the end of the day, they asked him, how did he come? What happened? What is the history or the story between him and this man? And Nelson Mandela said, yeah, that man was the jailer that put me in jail, and he made sure I suffered every day that I was in jail. That's what he did. I'm sure that when he saw me here, he expected now I'm president, I was going to punish him. But that is not my style. My heart is open. I am a broad-minded person. I do not look for revenge. That's how leaders lead. Leaders do not look for people to punish in their country. So, young people, remember what we are doing in Project 30 Before 30 International is to give you a personal development orientation. So that if you are personally evolved yourself, if you have an evolved knowledge of your own capacity, capability, opportunity, and all that you can do, even your limitations and things you need to improve in your life, and you work on them, that will give you the power that you need to become who you want to become. That's the purpose of Project 30 Before 30 International. And that is why we are showcasing a man of high caliber, a man of high capacity, a man that saw it all and never tried to revenge or punish those who did him evil. In many African countries, and it's happening, we have them many, and this is sad. We have rulers who cannot be called leaders. I don't call them leaders because they are not worth it. And these men and women, what they did with the power they got was to punish their people. If it were one of those African rulers that met that man in a restaurant, I'm sure he could have ordered his men to seize him and put him in prison just like he did to him. But Nelson Mandela, with his broad-mindedness, with his culture, with his education, knew that the best thing to do was to help that man to heal. Now, in that video, he shared a number of very critical elements of success, which I would like young people of Africa to imbibe and begin to practice. While you are here, we invite you to ask questions about what we are doing. Leave a comment, like, love, and share this program, whether you have seen it on Facebook or on YouTube, whichever place. So viewers, we expect your questions and comments. We'll be glad to have them. Now, he said a number of things, and I've jotted 7 points, 7 principles that can guide your life according to Nelson Mandela, and those things guided his life to the success he achieved. You and I know that Nelson Mandela is by far the most successful leader that has risen in Africa to date. Many other leaders, I have about 2. President Magufuli of Tanzania, who just died, was one man who turned that country around by giving them good leadership. President Paul Kagame is doing exactly the same thing in Rwanda as we speak. Outside these 2, I don't know of any other. I think the one of Botswana is trying, the one of Zambia currently is trying, but we are yet to have this kind of capacity of Nelson Mandela in a position. And when he had opportunity to stay in power for as long as he wanted, but he said he's just going to be in power for 1 term, and his purpose and mission is to simply stabilize the Republic of South Africa, and help them focus on what is important. So, point number one that I noted in his speech, which is very critical, which all of us should imbibe and practice, is honesty. Honesty is one of the synonyms of integrity. And without integrity and honesty, you have no chance of being successful in this life. Because to a great extent, what you will need, what you will walk through and do to become successful in the real sense requires other people believing in you and trusting you. And without integrity, without honesty, nobody will trust you. Now, in this speech, Nelson Mandela called out on the young, on everyone, all those who want to be leaders in the African society, especially, and in the world, to become honest with themselves first. So be honest with yourself. Start with yourself. Actually, do not start with anyone. Start with yourself. Because if you cannot be honest to yourself, you cannot be honest to your family. If you cannot be honest to yourself, you cannot be honest in the country for the country and to the country. You cannot be honest to an organization or company that you're leading, any group or association. So honesty is one key principle for success in life, and that honesty should start with you. Be honest with yourself. Many of us don't even tell ourselves the truth, not to talk of telling our wives or our children, our brothers and sisters, or members of our groups the truth, not to talk of the country. We have many countries in this Africa that the leaders are pure kleptomaniacs. All they think in their head is how much more money they can steal from the coffers of the country, from the treasury. These people are dishonest, and I don't know what they are telling themselves. So he wants us to be honest, and then to start with telling ourselves the truth, and then take that to the wider society, and we can now become true leaders. And the second point he raised is equity for all, equity for everyone. When you are given opportunity to be the president of a country in Africa, the CEO of a company, the chairman or president of a group or organization, a church, one of the things you must do to become a good leader there and to have success in that organization is that you are treating everyone equal, whether they are male or female, whether they are black or white, whether they are disabled or able, regardless of their condition, regardless of their situation. You see them as human beings, all the people in the group, in the country, in the family, in the company with you. You see them first as human beings and treat them as such. And you use the position of leadership you have to share equity, and you make sure that that equity is shared equitably. Simple. That is just the money. Make sure that the equity of the country that is given to you, the stewardship you have in your hand, is distributed equitably to all and sundry. That is the calling and position of a leader, and that is the counsel for success that Nelson Mandela has given. The third is to acknowledge those who gave you support. He expressed very profound gratitude to those who supported them in the apartheid struggle, in the struggle against apartheid in South Africa. And he called on all those who are everywhere in the world, African countries outside of Africa, who gave help to them. He acknowledged them. So he said, acknowledge those that have supported you in your striving, in your struggles, and in your work. In my culture, where I come from, we said, if you express gratitude to the person that brought you a salad, she will make another one and bring the next time. But if you don't express gratitude to that person, it might be difficult for them to bring another one. So that counsel is for Nelson Mandela, to be grateful and acknowledge those who supported you in your journey. The next thing he said, this is number 4 principle he shared, is he said he used what happened in the organization that he ran. And this is very important to note that the people you work with are what they are sought. They said, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are. And he said in the organization he led, I'm sure the African National Congress, which is a party he led for almost more than half a decade, half a century before they won independence, the African National Congress, he acknowledged that many of the members of that organization were better than him. And that because he stayed and sat in meetings and shared opinion and views with these men and women who are better than him, he was able to become better himself. That's what he said. Even in the larger society, in talking about success in life, we said it is better for you to stay in the company of those who know better than you, because then their diamond dust will fall on you, and that high level of diamond dust will give you the lift that you need to become like them. And I can share an example with you. When I had an opportunity to be a leader in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints at several times, many times, on each occasion and in each one of them, I called counselors who were far better than me. One of the most outstanding was when I was district president in Calabar. My first counselor then is a PhD holder and head of department in the University of Calabar at the time. PhD, head of department, the University of Calabar. That's what his position. My second counselor was an MD, a medical doctor, and at that time, a consultant surgeon in the University of Calabar Teaching Hospital. The one that will interest you is that though I was an old man, then about the same age with my first counselor, who was a year or so older than me, but I was a student in the same university where these two men are consultants and heads of department. So Nelson Mandela acknowledged the fact that he worked with the greatest people he could have, and working with them improved his life. So this is one of the things you must do when you find yourself an opportunity to work in a leadership position. When you select those who work with you, don't look for errand boys. No, don't do that, because they will bring down the standards you have. Look for those who are better than you. Surround yourself with the best souls, with the best spirits, with the best minds, and these people will raise you higher than you have ever thought that you could go. And that is the truth. If you go and work with those who are down the line, those you can control, you will never have a vision for better. And I cannot forget how, as a district president in Calabar, with men and women who are better than me in the leadership position, I was able to go places there, and we raised the standard that is still high till today. And the people we taught and mentored are all leaders in different stratas of the Cross River State Society, the church, and even in other parts of Nigeria. Those we mentored and raised during that period. That is what happens when you work with people who are better than you, great men and women, instead of looking for stooges, which is the kind of thing common with most African rulers, especially in Nigeria. They look for stooges. They look for those who can't talk. I look for those who will challenge me on the point that I'm bringing and improve the point. And I do not look as if they are challenging me. I take it that those who will improve the idea that I brought to the table, that's the people I like to work with. And Nelson Mandela has said that is the best way to work. And number 5, he mentioned the need to, ahead of time, establish your own standard on everything. Your standard of relating with people, your standard of socialization, your standard of piety, your standard of education. Raise your own standard of involvement in everything. Raise it, establish it, set it, know it in advance. And then do not change that standard because you are in front of someone who brings a certain influence on you. Don't do it. And he said, any man, and I include our woman, who will change his or her standards because he's meeting a different person, is not worthy to be a leader. And Nelson Mandela said that kind of person is not worthy to be the president of a nation. Because if that kind of person is presiding over a nation, that person will ruin that nation. And I think we can find that in what is happening in several African countries, including Nigeria. So you have your own standard that is not changed because of politics, that is not changed because of the people in the same political party with you. That standard should not be changed because of what you are seeking. Allow that standard to match what you're seeking, and if it doesn't, then you forget it. That's what Nelson Mandela is saying there. And I had two young men, Houston Chinwoke Meribe, my younger brother, and Eda Idio Raymond Ebo. It's an area 70 in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. These two young men were in my presence some years ago. I think that was in 1999. They just returned from their full-time mission. And I sat down with them to ask about their lives, and they shared stories that touched me. One of the stories they shared that touched me was that both of them, at different times, they didn't know each other until they met on mission, and then we all converged in Calabar. They all decided in advance what they wanted to do about certain things, especially concerning mission rules, scripture study. They decided all these things in advance before they got there. So, and because they decided in advance, they were able to use these standards which they set. These their own principles they came to mission with. They used it and they guided them. Both of them became all ultimate leaders of mission, serving as assistants to the mission president, and both of them are doing their best in society today, still serving and were doing their best in the church and in the society. They are all both great minds as we speak today. They decided in advance, and Nelson Mandela has asked that we choose our own principle in advance and make sure that whatever we do, whoever we relate with, falls into that. We do not have to change our standards because someone is in our presence. Then we change to meet their own needs. When we do that, we are not worthy. We are not qualified, he said, to become president of nations. And I think until Africans, and it starts with the young people of Africa, start practicing this standard of holding your own principle in front of every occasion and everything, then we will not be able to have leaders in Africa. And number 6, he asks that we be open-minded and leave prejudice out of whatever we do. We shouldn't judge people because of the color of their skin. We shouldn't judge people because of the situation of their life. We should judge people because, one, they are human beings. They are created by God. We are all in this world together pursuing the same thing. And each and every one of us only need encouragement and help from one another. And then the last point before we take it, we want to invite viewers to please leave a comment, like and share this program, or ask a question so we can help you with it. And the last point that Nelson Mandela shared with us this night is humility. He said humility is the bedrock for all successes, for any leadership. So people should be humble enough so that when you are leading people, you make them realize that you value them and that they are not a threat to you and you are not a threat to their own success. I cannot forget when I was in a same fourth party by my organization when I retired from service. And a young man, one of the young people in the room, somebody who knew me all the way from Calabar, and had received mentorship of a sort from me, being close to me, he was asked to make a speech about me. And he said, his name is Udobo, Asuku Udobo. He says, stake president in Lagos right now. President Asuku Udobo said, one of the things he learned from President Meribe, that is me, then as president, is that I am not afraid to mentor and raise those who will succeed me. And actually, that's what I'm doing in this, because I know I need people who will take over places in this Africa to make it better, to work in alignment with the things I have in my mind. And he said that President Meribe is not afraid to raise those who will succeed him, who will replace him. And this is one of the things that our leaders in Africa are feeling. They are so afraid of people who are working with them, very afraid of those who are working with